Hello, everybody, and this is our second chat for the first week. And as you may see from the link here, this is Tuesday's screencast. Be sure to stop this one and listen to this one if you haven't already done so. Okay, just a heads up. And what you're looking at here is a joke. It's also an argument. That's right. Every joke is structured like an argument. Even though it's funny and not logical, it's still organized like an argument. It has an argumentative structure, and the part that gets a laugh replaces the logical part, which isn't funny. So there's something illogical that makes a joke work, but it's still structured like an argument. And let me sort of give you a quick glance at one of our textbooks here on the modules page. This is on humor. We won't be reading it till the third week, but it deals with the context and audience, location, common sense elements that make humor work and help us explain it as an argument with a little help from our buddy Weston, who actually talks about jokes as arguments. I'll leave that for your reading if you missed it. Slow down, look for it. It's early in the chapter. Okay, and there's last week's, our first screencast in English even. And again, don't miss it if you haven't already seen it. Now, about humor and argument, let's take a look at this week's discussion. Now, I'm on the discussions page. You can also access the discussion on the assignments page, but I accessed it here on the discussions page in case you have a question to ask. Here's the class chat room. It's not the weekly discussion. This will be up every week. This is for you to ask questions, and you can pick up a few points if you want to ask a question that has not already been asked. Now let's go to this week's discussion. And there are 2 installments every week, Tuesday and Thursday, and there's always a required response. And you probably, if you're looking at this in order of the week, you've probably already done your Tuesday posting and response. Sometimes the response is due Tuesday, sometimes it's due Thursday, depends on the discussion and on the week. So just read through the directions. And speaking of directions, you've got reading to do, but you've also got screencasts to listen to, because the posting for Thursday asks you to quote something from Weston, which I just talked about a minute ago. But also, in each screencast, I have asked a question, and you'll need to pick one of those to answer. And let's go to the assignments page. You'll see this discussion here again. It'll pop up. And this is the best way to access it because it's with everything else that's assigned, or has been assigned, or will be assigned. But anyway, there are the reading questions, and they are on the reading. Pretty much, there is a little bit of screencast related material there too. So that's the long and short of it. But let me ask you, when well, now that we're into this idea of how an argument can be used to structure a joke, or conversely, if an argument actually is embedded in a joke, or a joke has a structure of an argument. It has the same kind of components, although the logical conclusion is replaced by the part that gets the laugh, called the punchline. And here are the working parts of a joke, which you'll want to take a good look at. See how it relates to argument. Pretty easily, actually. Basic joke structure, right? Premise, you'll read about that in Weston if you haven't already spotted it. Setup line, often it's also a premise. And then the punchline, which of course is not logical, which is why it gets a laugh. It's replaced the logical conclusion. And remember context down here? Here's where it all comes in. That punchline replaces the logical conclusion. But the audience must know the logical conclusion to get the punchline and laugh. Otherwise, they wouldn't know the joke is funny if they don't know that the joke is contrary to common sense. So that's not universal. That's based on a society, a community, their location, situation, and idea of what is normal. And of course, the punchline fractures that a little bit. And we'll read that in week 3, a little bit more on that. So let me ask you this. Have you ever done any coursework related to humor in classes you've had in school? I'll leave that open to you and think it through and how that went. And have a great rest of the week.